administration officials increasingly are facing so many very serious and violent threats that they find that the only option they have is to actually move their families and themselves onto military bases.
As someone that's conservative, I still have a question mark about that. Why? Everybody, left, right, middle, whatever, you should be asking why our government is continuing to keep a military force in Washington, D.C., as the president has already explained multiple times that it is now a safe city. How many more people have to die in this world for people to understand what is right, what is wrong, why we want peace and not violence, what the cartels represent?
Here's the list of some of the notable acts of political motivated violence. Of course, you had June 2022, the plot that was thwarted against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. You had the Paul Pelosi was attacked in October of 2022. Obviously, you have the assassination attempts on President Trump, both of them. You have the arson at Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home.
Yeah, and you have, of course, the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I think the Charlie Kirk assassination was such a shock to, especially to anybody who is in public life, that you could go with security to a university and simply have open debate, and you get shot in such a horrific way in front of college students. I'm still not over it. I'm just surprised how in the liberal media it's just kind of just gone away. Here, a lot of conservatives, and of course at Fox News, we have not forgotten. We will not forget. But it has just gone off the pages like, oh, just another day. But the people who are not forgetting, especially, are those in the public eye. And so one of them is Stephen Miller. This is The Atlantic saying Stephen Miller joined a growing list of senior Trump administration and political appointees, at least 6 by our count, living in Washington area military housing, where they are shielded not just from potential violence, but also from protests. It is an ominous marker of the nation's polarization, to which the Trump administration has itself contributed. I don't know where they got that from, that some of those top public servants have felt a need to separate themselves from the public.
And listen, this is President Trump saying that Washington, D.C. is safe because the National Guard is there. Although recently he extended it. I saw that he extended it until February, keeping the guard there in Washington, D.C. Why? If he's claiming so much and saying so much to the reporters, oh yeah, Washington, D.C. is safe now, you guys can walk around. Well, why are you extending the National Guard? As someone that's conservative, I still have a question mark about that. Why? Everybody, left, right, middle, whatever, you should be asking why our government is continuing to keep a military force in Washington, D.C., as the president has already explained multiple times that it is now a safe city. He moved the homeless out of the area. Where they put them, no idea. They cleaned the streets, and crime has been down, supposedly, but he's keeping the guard there for another couple months. That just begs a question mark. And then now you're hearing the Trump administration, some of the officials are staying on military bases because they're not safe in Washington, D.C. Why? So he's lying to us? Is Trump, the president, lying to the American people? These are questions that need to be asked by reporters, grilling his ass about these type of things. The American people are getting sick and tired of it. People on the streets are now physically fighting each other. We're in the middle of a civil war that's not fully blown off the lid. But there are people that are out there that are really physically abusing each other, and some of them are going to jail, some of them are getting away. This is reality. This is the reality we are living in right now.
Civilian officials can now depend on the U.S. military to augment their personal security, but so many have made the move that they are now straining the availability of housing for the nation's top uniformed officers. So The Atlantic really worried about housing for officers They don't seem to care about the fact that
Well,
military aren't getting paid during the shutdown, but okay.
so it's good on the Atlantic for pointing this out, but they do miss the point, Rachel. I mean, look, I cannot remember a time in my adult life that the threat of political violence was higher. And that is very sobering. And to see, we have had in the past some defense secretaries, Bob Gates, Jim Mattis, live on military bases. That's not unusual. But now, with people like Stephen Miller moving into the military because of threats on his life, it is akin to, in 2023, the mayor of Tijuana had to move on to a Mexican military base because the cartel was openly saying, we are going to kill you. These are the threats that Stephen Miller and Katie Miller and their children are getting. And it's really a moment that seems unprecedented in terms of the political violence in our country.
I think the kid part is a really important point. I mean, I know Jen Hegseth and Pete Hegseth made that move onto the base. Kind of made sense. They're part of the military, but also the kind of freedom their kids can have from harassment and the safety they need now because of this very violent environment we're in.
Yeah, indeed.
What the American people need to understand about this political violence, it's nobody can be blaming anybody. I don't care what you say or think. Everybody knew for many years and have talked about it under their breath, behind closed doors. Oh, government is so corrupt. There's politicians that are just doing it for the money. They don't care about the people. Well, now when you have somebody like President Trump come out in the open and be like, very bluntly, we're going to clean the swamps. We're going to take out completely the cartels, the Antifa. We're dealing with crime. We're actually doing work and being proactive to lowering crime, help save families and people around this country and around the world when it comes to certain things that he's trying to implement to help partner with other countries. It's stirring the pot for all these people that are evil in this world. The cartels, every type of militia out there, they're looking at Trump like, okay, he is our biggest threat. Okay, what he's doing and saying and preaching to his people in the United States of America is a huge threat to our whole criminal empire. If you look at it that way, you will understand that the political violence is making sense of what it is today. And now let's take a look about what's happening in Mexico. A lot of people aren't talking about what's happening in Mexico, and they're our neighboring country, our ally, and we should be working together with Mexico and Canada into dealing with a lot of these enemies that are around the world, and a lot of them masked and anonymous. Are you guys seeing what's going on here? The Mexican people in Mexico, are they rioting? Are they causing chaos on the street, burning down stuff that a lot of ungrateful people in this country do when certain things happen? No, they're paying tribute to a good man, a mayor that was trying to make some good changes for the Mexican people. If you guys don't know, what happened recently was Carlos Manzo, a Mexican mayor, who took a hard line against drug gangs, shot and killed on the Day of the Dead event, was shot 7 times. He was outspoken in his opposition to drug cartels and pushed for hardline laws against trafficking, was killed in a shooting. Before his death, he had been critical of Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum for what he saw as a lack of effort in combating cartels. His city lies in a place where it's very high levels of cartel violence. And mind you, we've already made a video months ago talking about how a lot of people that were running for office in Mexico were getting assassinated and killed because they were preaching the same things, trying to get rid of the cartels. See, in the United States of America, we have a lot of really good, highly trained security around a lot of political figures that, there's basically a 50-50 chance to take some of these people out. And that's why we have to amp our security, be more proactive in finding these criminals to take them out before they take a lot of good people out in this country. In Mexico, the security is not that great. There's a lot of corruption, a lot more corruption, to the point where 30-something politicians have been murdered during the time President Sheinbaum was president for Mexico. She hasn't been president that long. What does that tell you? That could possibly tell you that the president of Mexico is under duress from the cartels. We don't know. But when you have a lot of politicians getting murdered left and right, when they're preaching about taking out these cartel members, they're getting murdered. They're not able to even get to the position of power to make changes.
Seguiremos apoyando a todo aquel que lo necesite. Y hoy le
Look at that. He was killed despite being under heavy police and National Guard protection. What does that tell you? I mean, the cartels, they already know their way around on getting through heavy police or National Guard protection within Mexico. It's very sad in what's going on. And you can see the pain and struggle in people's faces here. And, a lot of them may not even have known who he was personally, but they knew his intention. Just as Charlie Kirk in our country, a lot of people in this country didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. And when they found out who he was and what he represented, the majority of the people were like, oh my God, we feel so bad for this man. And this is how they feel about this gentleman here.
digo al pueblo.
Estos momentos se hace entrega de sombrero y flores.
Yo hago un llamado a todos, cada uno que seguiremos impulsando los valores desde donde sea. Y pido a cada uno de los
How many more people have to die in this world for people to understand what is right, what is wrong, why we want peace and not violence, what the cartels represent? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Till next time, peace out, everybody. This one's for Charlie.